Hello and welcome to Seattle City Makers. I'm your host, Jon Scholes. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our latest episode of the podcast where I'm joined by Aimee Peck, who is the owner of Monorail Espresso, a terrific small business in our downtown community. Aimee joins us and gives us the origin story of the 40-plus-year-old coffee company that she took over ownership of in 2012 after starting there in 2008 as a barista. She shares with us her connection to Monorail Espresso, which goes back to her childhood, growing up in this area and coming downtown with her family. Shares with us the pandemic's impact on the business, the current state of the business, and her growth plans. She's got plans to open a new location in the downtown and recently opened the fourth location over on 4th Avenue about a year ago. And she gives us her perfect Sunday in the city of Seattle. Usually we ask our guests for their perfect Saturday. She's modified the question and gives us a jam-packed itinerary for her perfect Sunday in the city of Seattle. So hang around for this itinerary chock full of great Seattle spots that make up Aimee's perfect Sunday in the city. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Aimee Peck, owner of Monorail Espresso. Well, thanks for making time for this, Aimee.
Of course. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It looks like you're just back from a retreat with your team from Mexico. At least that's what social media says.
Yes, we go on a retreat once a year. We went to Sayulita to Playa Escondida, a resort there that the famous Bachelors in Paradise is filmed. So we had some fun with that.
How long have you been doing that? That's quite a perk for your team members.
Well, I try to take them on trips annually. It started, sometimes we go to Mexico on big years. We do origin trips to our coffee farm. So we went to Costa Rica one year. That was really wonderful. One year we went to Italy. That was a big year, and went to La Marzocco. That's where our espresso machines are from. And one of our customers practically gifted us a stay in his villa in Lake Como. So that was spectacular.
When people come to work for you, do they know about these retreats? Is this like in the coffee community that you're doing this?
I'm not sure.
Just like one day you're like, hey, okay, we're going to go.
Yeah. I think people hear about it, but it's pretty cool.
Our retreats are down at on the third floor community conference room amenity space of our building. It's just as exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to do, fun, different things to stand out. I also, have been a barista my whole life for 25 years. And so I try to, as a boss now, I try to do things that I would have wanted.
Yeah. Put yourself in the shoes of your team members.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So for those who don't know the origin story of Monorail Espresso, give us the origin story. And then there's the story of how you came to take over and lead the company. But it didn't start in the monorail.
No, it started at the entrance of the monorail. It started with the first coffee cart at the entrance. So before Westlake Mall was built, the monorail ended in Westlake Park.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Came across Pine Street.
And so Chuck bought the cart from a guy named Cappuccino Craig. He had it for about 6 months to a year, and he bought it in 1980. And this cart was built by two dudes, Kent Bakke, who is formerly the international CEO of La Marzocco now, and a guy named John Blackwell. They built the cart they went to the Boeing scrapyard and essentially built the very first espresso cart and threw an espresso machine on there. And, history was made. It was the very first coffee cart, and
kind of spurred coffee cart culture.
Culture, yeah. But at the time, it was pretty incredible. There was only a few espresso places in Seattle. It was Allegro and Last Exit.
Mm-hmm.
and then Monorail. That's it. There's no one else serving espresso. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that we were one of the first pioneers in Seattle. And Chuck, so they tore down that part of the monorail to build Westlake Mall. So Chuck kind of moved around. Chuck Beek and Susie Beek moved around a little bit and ended up at underneath the marquee of the Coliseum Theater.
Yeah. And Banana Republic.
Yep. And then when Banana Republic decided to come in, they loved the idea of trying to keep the coffee cart somewhere. And so they built the little walk-up window.
Yeah.
Where our flagship location is now.
Is that where our coffee came from today?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've been in that space since the lease was signed, I think, in 92, but I think 95 is when we opened in that spot. So yeah, and you know, it's pretty incredible. That's a long time to be in one location. But I started working at Monorail in 2008 as a barista and bought the business from Chuck when he retired in 2012. And at the time, it was the one location. And so since then, I've been slowly growing the business organically. The first location that I opened was in the Columbia Tower. And then our third location was off of Westlake Avenue.
Yeah.
Kind of in Amazon land. And then our fourth location is off of 4th Avenue.
Was you open that, a year ago or a little more than a year?
1 year ago.
Yeah.
April 4th.
When did you make the decision to open that?
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic. And you just sort of stuck with it, even though.
Yeah, well, I signed the lease February 2020.
Yeah, so the lease had you stick with it.
Yes, the lease had me stick with it. Yeah, it was pretty interesting timing on that. But
that's a great little spot though,
it's
there.
So pretty. It's
between Union and Pike, right?
Pike,
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's in our Art Deco building.
Yeah.
It's probably one of our prettiest locations. It's stunning location. So.
You forget how long it takes, even to open a spot with the footprint you have of just like from lease execution to the tenant improvements to all the things you have to do. And it's like, the decision was made a little while back, right?
Yeah. I mean,
when pandemic in between.
Yeah. When the pandemic hit, everything halted.
Yeah.
For about a year. And so then we started building construction, about 2021, I think. And so thankfully they held off for a little bit. But yeah, that was unfortunate timing.
And now you've got another on the way.
Yes, the new convention center.
Street.
Yeah.
I walked by yesterday and that whole stretch is going to be so cool.
Yes.
You're between Pike Brewing and Proshki, I think, right?
Yes. Very excited about that location.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy that Pine Street Group and Seattle Convention Center gave us this opportunity. It's huge.
Did they find you or did you go to them knowing that they're going to build this huge thing with a bunch of retail in Seattle?
Yeah, they came to us in the inception to get signatures from small businesses.
In support of the overall project?
Yeah. And I said, oh, are you going to do walk-ups like the other convention center?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. And I go, when can I sign a lease?
That was pre-pandemic too, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. Long time ago.
A little while ago.
Long time ago. And basically every year I bugged Pine Street Group, hey, when are you going to sign leases for those?
Yeah.
And they said, not yet. But they've been really supportive. And I'm just very excited because it's a big deal for a small business like ours to be able to go in the convention center. And that's going to be a game changer for our small business.
Yeah.
I mean, we're stoked to represent Seattle's coffee culture to all the visitors that are going to be coming in through the convention center. And we know that we'll be doing Seattle proud, so.
It's so cool to have that stretch on Pine of all local folks now with Ethan Stoll and you and Proshki and Pike Brewing. Yeah. And it looks like you're going to have like some outdoor seating or Pike's going to have some outdoor seating.
We're sharing that
covered
space.
And heated and it looks super cool.
Yeah, we're sharing that space. And
next month, later for opening?
We are hoping to open this summer, but permitting is stalling us.
Yeah.
So that's a big bummer. I don't know if you have any pull in
We've
that
been talking
department.
to the city about that and hearing from others. And we've talked to others on this podcast about why does it take so dang long to open a restaurant or a retail spot,
especially
or
one
a coffee
that's
spot.
375 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tiny. Plumbing is what's stalling us right now.
Yeah.
So.
We heard another story from this couple that I think we've mentioned on the podcast before. This couple in North Seattle, he's got, I don't know exactly their business, but they've got a spot up there and they were looking for another spot downtown and they're on the list for a plumbing permit. And it's like, we'll see in 10 months.
Yeah. It's not 10 months, hopefully, but I mean, for us to be able to open before PAX would be
Which
huge.
Is, when is that?
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. Well, hope you beat that. Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Permitting will be the reason why we don't open before then.
Yeah.
So.
Not that you can't hire people.
No.
Not that you. Not supply chain issues.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Come on, city.
I know.
Help us out.
I know.
Why did you decide to be a barista in 2008? And when did you grow up in this area?
I grew up in King County area. Yeah. I don't like to well, I shouldn't say this on this, but I grew up in Bellevue.
Quite all right. We like Bellevue.
I know.
They're good people.
I love
over
Bellevue.
there.
My parents still live over in Bellevue. It's fine. Yeah, I grew up in Bellevue. Was born in Bellevue. I have been making coffee since I was 17 years old. It's my passion.
When did you start drinking it?
Earlier than that, in high school, I think.
Yeah. My kids are 13 and a half and they're starting to like be coffee curious.
Yeah.
I think because they're friends and like people in the cafeteria are drinking coffee. So they're like, oh, let me taste that. Let me try that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. My dad used to drink coffee and we'd go to, I remember going to 7-Eleven with him and he'd let me get apple juice. I feel like that's like a gateway to people drinking
Really?
coffee. Yeah. Yeah. I also remember coming downtown as a kid, and especially during the holidays, I went to the Frederick and Nelson Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And I would get hot chocolate from Monorail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, total full circle. I mean, I would never imagine buying Monorail someday, and owning it, or working there. But
when you went there in 2008, you had the memories of going there as a kid. And
yeah. I mean, before that, for sure. It's always been a special place. It's an iconic place. So that's why I wanted to work there. It's just knowing it's an iconic business and legacy.
And when did you
business.
decide, like, okay, I'd like to own this thing?
When I started working there.
Really?
I told Chuck as soon as he's ready to retire, I'm ready to buy the business.
So you immediately went from kind of thinking about your duties as a barista to small business owner.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it would take some time.
What's been the toughest part of the transition over the years of taking on and growing a small business in Seattle? And what's been most rewarding?
Well, I was lucky because I had Chuck as a mentor in the beginning. The first 7 years, so from 2012 to 2019, it was challenging, but I loved it. It wasn't easy, but it was just, I knew I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I remember in 2019, every store that I opened, it was a success, like almost instantly. And 2019, I went, riding my bike from shop to shop and long lines of customers, happy baristas, revenues always up. And I thought, wow, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is great. I love it. And I naively thought, I think the only thing that can really take me down is an earthquake. And then a global pandemic entered the chat.
Yeah.
And the past 3 years have been so hard. I mean, it's been the most challenging, a real struggle. I don't even know. I mean, if it's one thing after another, I feel like the past 3 years, I promised to look after this legacy brand, and it just means so much more if I were to fail. It's not just Aimee's coffee shop. This is Monorail Espresso, and not only that, I have a responsibility to my my team. I have my employees to look after. So it became very stressful very fast. But our customers and our community really rallied around us and got us through. And also just really knowing to make sure that I took advantage of all of the federal funding and the PPP loans. And, I just made it my mission to just not fail no matter what. And I had many sleepless nights, but we made it.
So did you shut everything down then early on?
No.
You didn't?
No, my goal was to keep people employed.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I couldn't lose my staff.
Yeah. My
staff is amazing. Totally amazing. I've had people work for me one has been with Monorail for 27 years.
Wow.
We have someone that will be with us for 10 years this month, another 9 years. So that was my goal, is do not let go of this incredible staff. Do all you can to keep them. We only shut down the Columbia Tower location for 14 months. And our flagship on 5th and Pike, we kept that one open in our Westlake Avenue location. And what was surprising is our Westlake Avenue location at that time was our newest location, and it was probably our slowest location. But because it was surrounded by residents, it was the one that kind of held us up.
That was kind of part of the neighborhood throughout the pandemic. The greater downtown neighborhood that was had some energy. Yeah. Yeah.
And we were a business that could stay open because we were a walk-up window outside.
So you never even had to close because of restaurant restrictions and all that?
No. I mean, and when the governor
I knew you had your locations open, but I figured early on in 20, you had to be closed, right?
When the governor was, coming out with, okay, the rules were like takeout is okay. We're like, we are takeout. Yeah. Are we allowed to be open? And I had, my team was like, we want to work. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're allowed to work.
How is it? Did you have a hard time convincing people to show up? I mean, they're working behind there in kind of close quarters. I mean, you have the windows open and all of that, but that had to be a little bit of a challenge, or do people just were committed to keeping it rolling?
Committed to keeping it rolling. Yeah. And in the beginning too, we just had one person on the floor at once. So no one worked together.
Gotcha.
And, we just had a really strict protocol. No one at Monorail got sick or got COVID for the first, almost 2 years. It was incredible. We did a really good job with our protocol, COVID protocol. It wasn't until, it was almost 2 years. It was incredible. So.
Well, congratulations. That's a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
And fend off. What's the state broadly of the business today? I mean, you've got more locations than you did 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
But are you seeing on an individual location basis revenue stabilize back to where you were, or there's still room to grow and get back to those numbers?
Well, we're back to pre-pandemic numbers.
Wow.
Yeah. As a company, company-wide, we are. Our Pike and Westlake location are back to pre-pandemic numbers. Our Columbia location is interesting because it is on certain days of the week. Yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are back, baby. Come and see us. We're rocking. Mondays are getting close. Fridays are, hit and miss. But it's very close. So we're happy.
Has your customer base at some of the Pike and Westlake locations, are they different people now? Is it more residents? I mean, we have half or so of the office workers we would expect back in their offices on a regular basis. So I assume we're a big part of your customer base, but they're not here as much. So are you seeing more visitors and residents, or hard to tell?
It's a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mix. Our Westlake is a lot of residences. And our Pike is, office workers that just, they don't come every day like they used to, Monday through Friday. But, and we are seeing more tourists. Last summer was a ton of tourists coming through our Pike location. Huge for us. And it's a mix of people. I would love to see more residences throughout most of downtown. And even I live in Pioneer Square. I would love to see more residences down in Pioneer Square too, because I see a lot of buildings being built, but they're going to be office spaces. It doesn't make sense to me personally. I would love neighbors,
Have you thought of a location down in Pioneer Square?
Pre-pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We need foot traffic.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We need the foot traffic.
So we've asked this question of other small business owners, leaders on our podcast. If you were mayor for a day, what would you do to improve the small business environment, just the general quality of life in our city? You're mayor for a day.
I wouldn't want to be mayor for a day.
more than one day, or not a day at all?
Not one day, not 1 hour. Gosh, that's a really tough question. And I've heard you ask this before, and I don't know why I didn't think about this. Yikes. I don't know what I would do.
Maybe speed up your plumbing permit.
Definitely speed up the plumbing permit, but
that would help a lot of people, it sounds like.
Gosh.
We'd be able to get more coffee on Pine Street sooner than September.
I don't know what I would do if I was mayor for a day. I mean, I think I thought about this, and the reason why I don't have an answer is because I feel like what's happening in the city right now, with the efforts for what I think is really important with public safety, it's going in the right direction. So I don't know that I could do anything better personally.
You feel good about the general direction we're heading in?
Yeah, I mean, I wish it could be faster, but I'm feeling optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better than that day where I think we saw each other like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
A little tour with city leadership and visiting with you and others.
Yeah.
That was a rough patch.
Yeah, that was a rough patch. It was a rough patch. For sure. And we've made a lot of progress since then. Definitely. I'm just hopeful, with all the different programs that are going on with, I'm just doing some reading on, with the We Deliver Care and Just Care and Reach and the Third Ave project, all that stuff. I'm feeling a little bit, I'm feeling optimistic, knowing that there are things actually happening. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. We've got more attention.
Yeah.
And intervention taking place out on the streets with those who need the support and help.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that, I was listening to your podcast with Council Member Lewis, and he was saying that he was worried about funding running out. So I hope that doesn't happen. But so maybe if I was mayor for a day, I'd make sure that the funding,
the things that are working have the resources to sustain them.
Yes, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah,
just get more money for those things. Yeah.
Did the pandemic change how you show up as a leader of your team and how you run your business?
Yeah, definitely. I was there 24/7 for everyone, on call all the time. I mean, I guess I always have been, but, it was pretty intense for times for everyone. And just, there was periods of time where my baristas were kind of acting as social workers, and, it's not their job. And so I would try to step in and just be there whenever they needed, or, just they'd call me if there was someone in crisis and the police weren't responding, or, I will say, I wanted to make sure that I said today that, MID is amazing. So thank you. we wouldn't be, I don't know what we would do without MID. We call them first, actually, when if there's anyone in crisis or anything in need, and they handle a situation always, they're just wonderful. So I don't know how many people you have on staff at MID, but
about 130 full-time ambassadors. And
oh gosh,
they're pretty incredible.
They're saints.
Folks.
Yeah.
We were just down at City Hall and the council chambers earlier today because they're considering the renewal for the next 10 years. So
we need them.
Yeah.
We need them. I don't know what we would do without them.
Yeah. Well,
for
I'm
real.
glad to hear that your team's getting good service.
Oh my gosh, the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll call both the police or MID at the same time if there's a crisis situation, and MID shows up first.
Yeah.
No matter what. They're just there.
Yeah.
So, wanted to make sure I gave a big shout out to MID.
Thank you for that. We'll pass it on to them for sure.
Yeah, we
They're
love
good
the
people.
ambassadors. So they're saving lives and doing great work.
Yeah, you all were, there wasn't a lot open for the last 2+ years. And
just us.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, just a beacon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With our caffeine sign. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty commendable that you were able to keep people employed and then keep those of us living downtown and others and folks who were working here, essential workers and others.
Yep.
Well caffeinated with delicious coffee.
Yep.
So you got our drinks dialed just by visuals off our website, I guess, and photos of James and Kelly and myself.
Yep.
And you nailed it. What's your go-to coffee drink?
Espresso.
Yeah.
I like iced Americanos. And in the summer, we have an espresso tonic made with Scrappy's Bitters.
Oh.
It's a local bitters companies here.
I love Scrappy's. Usually in my old fashions, but what are you
really
doing
good.
with them?
We put them in our espresso tonics. So it's a cardamom flavor with a little vanilla. You should get one from Monorail.
With
it's really
some
good.
Tonic water and espresso. Espresso.
Espresso. Yeah. It's delicious.
Over ice.
Yes, over ice.
Interesting.
Very, very good.
Is that more of like a summery
Summer drink.
beverage?
It's my go-to. Yeah.
What do you call it? Is there a
It's our espresso tonic.
espresso?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try that.
You could order it at any of the monorails. We'll have it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we also ask your perfect Saturday in Seattle, your perfect itinerary. That's one of our standard questions to our guests here. What's your perfect Saturday in Seattle?
So for industry people, Saturday is hard.
Mm-hmm.
I am wondering if I can do a Sunday.
You can, yeah. Tell us why Saturday, because of
well, because most industry people work Saturdays.
Yeah.
And Sundays are better because drag brunch is on Sunday.
Yeah.
First of
This
all.
can be the perfect Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. And my Sundays are way more
Maybe we
epic.
should shift the question I don't know, so that we're more inclusive of different industries and what people are doing. You're the first one who's wanted to pivot it, but
I've been thinking about Saturday and sometimes I work on Saturday and I just am like, gosh, and Sundays are just so much more epic and there's just cooler things to do on Sunday. So if I can do a Sunday, I would love to do a Sunday.
Let's hear about the perfect Sunday.
Okay, so
Amy's
I wake
perfect
up,
Sunday.
I have Monorail pour over with 5 Farms Irish cream. It's very, very good. It's like Bailey's, but it's better.
Yeah. Okay.
And then go to drag brunch at Camp, which is on Madison Valley, which is fun times.
Camp in Madison Valley.
It's a newer restaurant.
So right off Madison there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. So we're talking like fallish. So you
get to pick the season, dude.
Yeah, this is fallish.
Yep.
So we're going to do a little sailing.
Oh.
Yes. On
whereabouts?
Lake Union.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a boat, you can rent from the center for wooden boats, which is wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Yeah. Get a little skiff.
I do that with my kids often.
Yeah.
The Lightnings or the J boats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
What are you taking out?
I have a 27 Catalina.
Oh yeah.
I've had for many years. She's an old beaut. But,
yeah.
And then I always, if I go sailing, I usually stop by White Swan for some oysters and little bubbles. But this, I think, on this Sunday is going to be the special one-off Sunday that Lake Vista is open, where they do their oyster day. Because usually Lake Vista is closed on Sundays,
yeah.
but there's
what is
one
what is the special
Sunday
day?
they're open where they have oysters and wine.
Are you going to tell us?
It's in fall.
In the fall. Okay.
You have to follow them on Facebook to figure it out.
Yep.
And then we're going to Sunday Night Football
Yes.
to watch the Seahawks. Okay.
This is a hell of a day.
I know. I'm going to be this is a very long day, but this is the best Sunday in Seattle that you can have. I've really thought about this long and hard.
That's optimized.
Yes. We're going to lose our voice because it's going to be Sunday Night Football. So we're probably playing the 49ers and we're going to beat them. We're going to be screaming, Gino, Gino, Gino.
Bobby's back.
Yeah, Bobby's back. I'm so excited. Then we're going to rally and we're going to go to the market and we're going to go stop by Jar Bar and say hi to Brian Jar. And we're going to keep on going because it's Sunday night and we're going to go to Flammable, which is the longest running house music night on the West Coast. And it was at Rebar, RIP, but it's now at Chop Suey in Capitol Hill.
Wow.
And then we're going to faceplant because it was the longest Sunday, but it was an epic one.
Usually if I'm at Jar Bar, that's the end of the night. There's like, you're not going anywhere else after that, but you're going back up the hill.
Yeah, going back up because, hey,
you've gone from Pioneer Square to Madison Valley to Lake Union to back to Pioneer Square.
Hey, we can do it.
To
it's
the
Seattle.
market, to Capitol Hill, and Lake Vista was somewhere in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Wow.
We can do it.
I love that.
This is a small city. We can bounce around easy.
Food and sports and recreation bonanza.
Exactly. This is why we love our city.
Beverage.
We can do it all in one day.
Yeah.
I've pretty much done that in one day.
You've done that day.
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've
definitely gone sailing. I've definitely gone sailing and a football game and Flammable and definitely a stop at a wine bar in one day.
Tell us more about Flammable for those of us not up on that scene. What's going on there?
It's a wonderful house music night that's been around for ages. I think over 25 years. It was at Rebar and it moved.
Did the pandemic move it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now it's at Chop Suey. And yeah, it's a really, really fun night. It's known for its red light. There's a red light that's over the DJ booth. And if you really like the track, you can go up and hit the light. It swings over the DJ and it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's cool. I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Get that on my perfect Sunday or Saturday. It's Sundays though.
It's Sundays.
Sundays. So
holiday weekends is really fun. It's always busy, packed.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What else should people know about Monorail Espresso that we haven't talked about? One of the things, you got a lot of cool merch on your site, I saw. So that's at least hold that up. But and you sell beans, which that makes sense. I didn't really realize that. But are there other things we haven't talked about that people should know about their local Seattle coffee purveyor?
Yeah. Well, right before COVID, we set up our website. The timing was really lucky. We set up our website to sell beans and merch February 2020. And so we were set up to sell all of that when COVID hit. So that was fortunate timing. And you can still subscribe and get beans sent to your house. And we have a lot of people that do that. And our merch is awesome. I mean, I'm pretty proud of it. We work with local artists every year to come up with art for our merch. And yeah, I mean, Monorail is a lot of people that are new don't really realize the history of Monorail in Seattle. It's an iconic coffee shop. And I guess the only other thing I would say is that if you see a line at Monorail, don't be intimidated. It goes fast.
You all move through it pretty quickly.
Yeah. We are fast, and it's good coffee, really good coffee.
And treats for the dogs at most locations.
Yeah,
right?
treats for the dogs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're out and about.
Yep.
With your canine.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Aimee, for making time.
Yes.
And for this delicious Americano.
Yes. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm honored to be here. So. It's a lot of fun.
We appreciate it, and hats off to leading this great Seattle company and brand through gnarly few years.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Aimee, a terrific small business owner and leader in our community. Appreciate her making the time and for bringing us coffee by. And as we alluded, she has the superpower to be able to know just by looking at you what your drink of choice is. And she got it right for the three that she brought by to myself and our team. So enjoyed that Americano. I think they make one of the best Americanos around. So go check out her locations and keep your eye on the upcoming new location in the ground floor of the convention center on the Pine Street side. It is going to be super cool, along with the other food and beverage operators, local food and beverage operators that'll be opening there shortly. Well, as I do each and every episode, I want to close out with a recommendation of what you just can't miss in downtown Seattle, something that's maybe reopened or new or on the way to go check out. And this is something that's on the way. The cat's out of the bag on Fogo de Chao, the famed Brazilian steakhouse, which was started by two brothers in the 1970s in Brazil and then came to the States, came to Texas, I think in 1997, will open their first Seattle location at 4th and University here in the not too distant future. I don't think they've put out an opening date yet, but as reported in the Puget Sound Business Journal, they've got plans to open a restaurant, kitty corner to Purple there across from the Fairmont Hotel, and we'll also have a rooftop bar, which is going to be, I think, just terrific. Pro more rooftop bars in downtown Seattle. So they'll open on the 10th floor there of Wright Runstad's project, and will be a great addition to that corner. So keep your eyes out for the great Brazilian steakhouse, Fogo de Chao, coming to downtown Seattle at a date yet to be announced. So exciting news this week for downtown. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of Seattle City Makers, presented by the Downtown Seattle Association, with support from James Cito and production by Spark Creative.